So now we are starting with a book that is No One Unlucky and No One is So Lucky. This is a very good book and let's read together. So without wasting time, let's start. So the first chapter of the book is You Don't Need Luck. So basically, see, this book basically tells us about how we can work on self, how we can be a good on ourselves, not depending on others. So let's start. Curiosity engulf our lives. We always want to know what our future holds, irrespective of our age, whether we are in our teens or late 50s. We remain anxious, and the question of how lucky we are going to be keeps bothering us. Our gist and the nature of this ambiguity vary accordingly to the various stages in our life. There are some common questions people raise about education, job, house, wealth, foreign travel, and not to forget about the person they will be sharing their lives with. There would be. I was also dealing with these uncertainties and kept asking myself, am I not lucky enough to be successful in my age or in my life, or do I need some extraordinary qualities? How can I achieve success? I am sure that not only I, but also many of you would have thought and asked yourself the same or similar questions at some point of your life. Such worries lead us to attempt finding out about our future thought through any sources available to us, like extending our hands to a palmist while peering into our palms as we wait anxiously for the predictions would explain us to with gusto about certain lines and their impact on our lives, and will also try to read the reactions on our faces. We would not stop there but boast to be at least 90% accurate about his prediction. Some people consult clairvoyants, astrologers, tarot card readers, palmists, or regularly read astrological columns by experts in magazines and newspapers. If we ask people about the predictions, they likely and feel happy when told about great things are going to happen in their lives. Some people say that these predictions are good, fun, and there is no harm in it. However, when it comes to planning something important in your life based on these predictions, you not only deviate from the path of logic, you also take the road of uncertainty. According to William Shakespeare, it is not the stars to hold our destiny but in ourselves. If we critically study and closely examine the story behind any person's success, we would find that there was no such factor as luck which was responsible for his success. Though it can't be denied, miracles do happen, but not as per your and my wishes. The rag to rich tales are best example to understand how once in a blue moon someone gets a life changing chance, but is he able to sustain it, or does he ultimately go back to square one? There is a saying, a fool and his money is one big party. Understand this again. A fool and his money is one big party. The story can be taken for an example. It happened in Britain. A person at a tender age became a millionaire. He fulfilled his dreams of buying a house at a posh location in the city of his choice. Thus thus he went far away from his relatives and friends. Since then, there was no one he could share up his worries and anxieties, and he kept himself busy listening to music, surfing the net, or watching television. When all this could not keep him entertained, he would go to bed. Then eh, when he kept himself busy, he came of a age, he began to go to the late night parties or to keep himself happy. He never thought of protecting his wealth. He developed all bad habits that become the cause of his ruins, and he died soon. So there are very few people who would not fritter away money that they have got by chance and instead make provision to use it judicially. That's why it has been quoted repeatedly. Easy come, easy go. This story stands in stark contrast to what you have just read. Due to this industrial development in the state of Gujarat, farmers' land was acquired and they were paid hefty compensation in millions. Most of them were working for a paltry 11,000 to 15,000 rupees as machine operator, storekeeper, and this huge compensation was nothing less than a windfall for them. Their reaction was usually first to get rid of all the jobs which could not make their end meets. Second, fulfill their wishes. They were on shopping sprees, buying branded clothes, shoes, electronic gadgets, and not to miss covered cars. And third, to construct, renovate, or expand their houses. They spent their time watching cricket matches and other entertainment programs. After some time, it all became boring, and they remembered the hearsay. An idle mind is the devil workshop. Soon, a majority of them were back to their jobs, this time not for the money but to keep themselves busy. They were not worried about their income as they look good care of their remaining wealth by making fixed deposit with banks. Better late than never. And they say good sense prevailed. So myth, superstitions and misconceptions. So there is an age-old belief that success and failures depend upon luck.
आलू के पराठे
There is an old age belief that success and failures depends on luck, destiny, fate, and involve auspicious and inauspicious signs, good omens, bad omens, zigzags, wing fortunate, unfortunate, etc. These words are ingrained in us and have conditioned our mind and perspective. These words are not only mythical, we refer to them metamorphically so much that when we try to discard them, it seems impossible as it has become our habit to use these words in our everyday life. It is high time that we share of all such beliefs and superstitions. Some people wrongly believe that a particular day is lucky for them because they have been coincidentally successful on that day. Similarly, some people believe a particular number is lucky for them in their life. Hence, they always want to do anything important on that day or on that date. They will buy a lottery ticket of that number and even prefer the allocations of a hotel room or a seat on a flight, train, or bus with that number. Here are some wacky and weird examples of superstition practices in contemporary times. It is for you to decide if you could find a scientific, logical, or sensible answer to this. According to popular belief, when a crow spatter on somebody its booty, it is considered lucky. There are other similar myths. A hawk flying over someone is considered as a good omen. Breaking on a mirror is not considered auspicious. In many places, it is popular to toss a coin in the river, well, pond, or fountain to attract good or good luck. Furthermore, people would try mythical remedies to bring luck to them. Now, this one is interesting. How many of us can afford it? Some people consider it auspicious and lucky to ride an elephant when going for an important meeting or work. I have seen a candidate riding an elephant to go to election office to fill up his candidate form. What can you say when someone prefer to live in blissful ignorance? Let me share with you a interesting incident. It was our first day on an assignment in Saudi Arabia. Three of us, colleagues and flatmates, left home in the morning to take a taxi from the taxi stand to go to the office. Suddenly, one of the colleagues wanted to take a different route to reach the stand. When we asked him why he wanted to take the other route, he told us that a black cat had crossed our path and it was not a good omen. We asked him not to believe in such superstitions, but we didn't insist that he come along with us or make fun of him. He made the derivation to reach the taxi stand. Incidentally, the cat could be sighted everywhere in that country, jumping in and out of waste bins like you may find dogs on the street in our country. That day, while having dinner, we asked him, "How was your day today? Hopefully, nothing went wrong." He laughed and said, "It is really difficult to avoid these cats here. It is our fear that compel us to follow such beliefs. We hear stories from people that Mr. So and so didn't do something in a particular way or did not perform certain rituals, and as a consequence, he could not get the desired result and faced failures. We get scared and think that there's no harm in doing it or performing that ritual. Often, when we are in trouble or things do not work out the way we want, we become anxious and worried. We don't know what may happen and how to stop it from becoming a catastrophe. In such a situation, when we seek a solution, we welcome any person who come to us with a suggestion. When the pain is great enough, we will let anyone be doctor, said by M. McLaughlin. In such case, crooks take advantage of our ignorance. Anyone who is well educated and has broad minded people in his social circle will never fall into such traps as of myths, superstitions, and misconception. The social environment. As the old maxim goes, you are the product of your environment. We are conditioned by our parents, relatives, friends, newspapers, television, social media, and various other platforms. Since childhood, our subconscious mind has been continuously fed by these sources. By the time we become adult, we have already developed a certain way of thinking. How's the environment in our society? Is it supportive or filled with negative thinking? I'm sorry to state that unless you have already achieved a big success to prove yourself, you are not going to get any encouragement or support because you are surrounded by people who have negative thoughts. They would cite the example of someone who has lost money in business or a professional who is not doing well or someone who is living miserably. They would say how, without luck, he could not do well despite having good qualification and working hard. In fact, they do not know about the person's ignorance of the essential elements of success. Therefore, they keep citing these examples. Such people disgrace you or discourage you deliberately or habitually. They will tell you that a lot of money would be needed. You already have responsibilities and you have no time, or you need experience to set such a goal. You can affect your decision. This can affect your decision to purpose your dreams or your goals. Usually, such peoples are failures and have never been able to achieve success. They are afraid to take even small risk in their life or in their day-to-day routine. They tend to blame others. They tend to blame others for anything gone wrong in their life. You should never discuss your plans such with people. There are people who have stood up for themselves amidst a negative social environment. I know one of such brave person who really did set himself free from the shackles of negativity. This person was born and brought up in the lanes of Goa. Since his childhood, he saw hooling, smoking, drinking, gambling, wedding, knaves, and fighting in his neighborhood. It was their most delicious, drunken, rebel, and notorious that made them known in the local area as goons. This person did not like it at all and didn't mingle with them. He maintained a distance with all of them as he grew up. He continued his education against all odds and later soon shifted to Bombay. There while working, he completed his education. Afterward, he became a regional manager with a conglomerate in Saudi Arabia. He was one of my colleagues. The definition of luck. Now the question is, what is luck? If we look into the Oxford English Dictionary, it say good things that happen to you by chance, not because of your own effort or abilities. That is called as luck. But when it is not good, it is perceived as a bad luck. Now, what we understand is that it happened by chance. That's a miracle. No one can predict with a guarantee when his luck is going to smile upon you, and you have no role in influencing the result. Is there any sensible person who will sit back and wait for luck to be kind on him? Instead of planning and forecasting the outcomes after successful execution of plan, which is more sensible and logical, even otherwise you might have heard of phrase luck by chance. And by the way, there was a Hindi movie by this name, Luck by Chance. One school of thoughts believed that rich get richer without making any significant effort towards their success. To prove their point, they will cite many examples of prominent business families that their connections played a great role in their success. While it could be true, saying that they did nothing is wrong. Despite all such favorable conditions, they could not have made it to the position and sustained it too. Why do two siblings having grown up in the same suitable conditions not achieved on an equal level of success? This is because of their interest and not luck. Often, often we come across such cases where a person has been given preferences over a more qualified and experienced person. In the beginning, it puzzled me, as people would say that it was luck. It made me more passionate about my research to find out if it is really luck that decide if we are going to fail or success. If we go by common belief that whether happen to us is due to our luck, then it means nothing move according to our karma. As per survey that was conducted to find out if people thought luck play a definite role in their success, it was captured that surprisingly by 29% said no and 71% said yes. And it was a amazing factor. As a general tendency, people ascribed success or failure to their luck. If you bring up the subject of luck with people, try to be logic in your discussion by placing all the facts before them to prove that there is no such thing as luck. They will condemn you outright. In such situation, it is better to drop the conversation immediately because no, you know the person is not being rational. People who are unable to understand, or rather, who don't want to understand, the always hide behind the veil of luck or destiny. I always tell such a person that he is free to follow what he believes, and I will do what I feel is right. When we decide to achieve success, we cannot and should not leave it to chance or luck. We place all our stakes to achieve success. Let me ask you, when you feel hungry, what do you do? Do you sit back and wait for the some miracle to satisfy your hunger? I am sure you don't. You arrange for it because food is not going to come you to your mouth by itself. There is a cause for everything. Nothing happened without a cause. You and your destiny. Most of us still do not understand the system that Almighty has created. As Franz Kafka said, good God gives you the nut, but he does not crack them. It is for us to make use of our brains. Almighty God has created human beings with more infinite potential and talents that any often any other living creature being is on earth. If you want to ride an elephant, a horse, or even a lion, you can, but they cannot ride you. Though you are more powerful by brain, but they are more powerful by their physical strength. They can ride you, but they can't. They could not, because the reason behind the talent and the mind power we have. So, in the Arabic language, human beings are called as Ashraful Makhlukat. That means superior of all other beings because we have been gifted with greater intelligence. Our thought process, memory, and ability to explain and share our experiences with others make us superior. We have options too. The whether we do the outcome ascertained accordingly. If we want to grow mangoes, we do not sow mustard seeds. As you sow, so you reap is not a proverb in vain. A rational approach and a scientific temper enables to get the result in our favor. The creator of the universe has made us the master of our own destiny. We should have absolute confidence in our abilities, efforts, than the destiny. It is up to us how we want use of all the gifted abilities. Great success does not come by fluke or by accident in life. Although history has witnessed a few of greatest discoveries and inventions that happened by chance. One such well-known example many of us have read about it is the invention of the steam engine. But those are rare incidents and we can call them exceptions. On your journey to success, don't consider yourself helpless, destitute of any support. Instead, believe in yourself. It is you and only you who can change your destiny for the better. According to management guru Peter Drucker, the best way to predict the future is to create it. You can always ensure you achieve success by reasoning and understanding. In other words, you must have followed the principle of causality or cause and effect theory. Remember, you don't need a luck. Anyone can achieve success, but most of us do not know how to do it and what kind of approach we should adopt. We tend to believe that luck or only hard work can make us successful. We also emphasize on getting higher qualifications. These points have been discussed in detail in the following chapter. So success is sure, provided you follow the essential elements. You have the essential pathway, essential elements that you have to follow to be get successful. So we have completed one chapter. Now, in the other live, we will be doing the other chapter that's as education alone can't take you far. Thank you.